Is there any evidence of a link to terrorism, or is it just his point of view?
You should watch the news. These guys take over entire buildings.
They
vandalize colleges.
Intensely.
They shut down colleges.
I'm asking about the specific justification for the revocation of his visa.
That guy came over to the United States, got an Ivy League education, spent all this time here, got all sorts of free crap. And then when he was faced with, somebody calling him out for being an American-hating jerk, he got a GoFundMe started by Ilhan Omar's daughter, made a bunch of money.
Wait, did her daughter really start? I didn't know that. Her daughter started.
There's a GoFundMe. Yeah, there's a GoFundMe for the guy. He got a bunch of money. So it's like
$500,000 as of yesterday.
Yeah, there's probably more in it now. So you tell me what other country he could do that in than in this beautiful experiment called the United States of America. And then he hates it. He hates this country.
Well, hello there. Happy Monday and happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. Good to be with you. What a weekend. Oh my goodness, do we have a lot to break down. Caroline Levitt, I hope you enjoyed that show on Friday. Breaking big news, got some traction over the weekend in Breitbart and Politico that she's not attending the White House Correspondents Association dinner. But there was also another dinner this weekend. We're going to talk about that because they broke some traditions this weekend as well. Big victory for the Republicans on Friday evening. The Senate caved, and we'll talk about this in just a little bit because, my gosh, the knives are out for Chucky Schumer. I mean, this is not good. The Senate jammed him. Part of the reason we talked about this last week that the House left wasn't just because they wanted to go home for a spa appointment or something. They literally wanted to put the Senate's back up against the wall Friday evening. Take a look. House leader, Dem leader Jeffries got asked, do you have Chuck Schumer's back? Do you agree with him? Do you still have confidence in him? This is what he had to say.
Senator Chuck Schumer is from your state. He clearly has a different view of this than you. He is not saying let's go back to the negotiating table. He's saying let's take this vote. So have you lost confidence in him, the fact that you guys see this so differently?
Next question.
Leader Jeffries.
Yeah, it went on like that for a while. Next question. Not exactly a show of confidence in his fellow New Yorkers. My understanding is the gentleman sat down over this weekend, but I'm telling you, this is not a good week for Chuck Schumer. He's going to be on a book tour. And on book tours, you have to answer a lot of questions because you're trying to sell books. So you do interviews, and sometimes those interviews are with people that you normally wouldn't grant an interview with because you want to sell books. And so I have a feeling this could be a very difficult week for Chucky. Mark my word, I think this is a telling week. This is one of those weeks where he could actually have a really bad week. We'll keep an eye on it for you. But I'm telling you, this is a guy who's not in a good place over this weekend. Everybody bailed on him. Everybody bailed on him on his party. That was probably the best answer. No. Next question. I mean, it didn't get better from there. And I said bombs were dropping all over the weekend. The United States attacking Houthi targets because of freedom of navigation that the Houthis are preventing. And they're making it very clear this isn't your Biden's bombing type. This is not a one-day, one-off thing. These guys are in it to win it. And then, by the way, one other thing I want to get to, we'll talk about this in a minute with the chicks on the right. They are both here to kick off our Monday. If you watched the morning news this morning, you saw the announcement that they sent a rocket up to go send these astronauts. They've been stranded in space. What was supposed to be a 10-day mission. It sounds like Gilligan's Island. It is now 9 months. And Biden left them there. Elon Musk sent a rocket. It's like sending an Uber to pick somebody up, except it's a rocket, right? And they sends a rocket to go pick them up. And no one in the morning news wants to admit that it's Elon's rocket. They're like, the astronauts got picked up today like it was a bus stop. They got picked up today on their way home. They were left there by Biden. He had an option. He wouldn't take it. And Elon Musk sends his personal rocket to go get them. And they're on their way home because of Elon. But no one in the news will tell you about that. Chicks on the right are here. Brendan Carr here tomorrow. So much to break down with the chairman of the FCC. But before we get to the chicks on the right and break it all down, let me tell you about a great guy, my buddy Leo Grillo. Leo has founded the world's largest no-kill sanctuary. No-kill sanctuary. That means it's not a shelter. It means they take in dogs, cats, horses, you name it, of all stripes, and they give them a home for life. That means it's not trying to find them an adoption home or something like that. They give them the medical care, the nutrition, the veterinary care that they need, and he provides for them. It is so cool. It all started with one dog. He named the dog Delta, and then, it went from there. The cool thing about Delta Rescue is it relies entirely on contributions from people like you. They don't get any USAID money. They don't have a subscription to Political Pro. No. They rely on us to fund them. So if you go to deltarescue.org, you can see the great work that they're doing, all the animals that they have helped. And if you can make a contribution, join me. I made a personal contribution to Delta Rescue at deltarescue.org to help Leo Grillo in his mission. More importantly, at the top of that website, you'll see the estate planning kit. Consider prey on giving them a gift. Maybe it's an old 401k, a stock, whatever you have. They'll take it. And there might be a tax benefit to you in the short term if you consult with your tax professional. So go to deltarescue.org and check it out. Also, last night, before I kicked off the week, I have continued to invest in my wellness by making sure I have a good night's sleep. These are the 2 bags of Beams Dream Powder. You see they're both empty because they taste that good. I love this stuff. I take it every night. A lot of times I post on social media because people ask me, do you really take this? Oh, yeah, I take it. I take it every single night, a scoop in some water, mix it around 45 seconds in the microwave, and it has made a real difference in my life. It is proudly founded in America and run by people who share our hard work values. They live by a code of integrity. They deliver results. It's science-backed. It's a healthy nighttime blend with ingredients shown to improve sleep and wake up refreshed, not groggy. Professionals, athletes all over the world take this. It is made with a powerful blend of natural ingredients, reishi, magnesium, apigen, melatonin, all the stuff that you would probably try to take. It is the only thing that I have found that works to get a good night's sleep. It's already improved over 17.5 million nights sleep across the country. Here's the deal, though. This is nothing you would get in the Biden economy. This is Trump economy stuff. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount of 40% off on the best-selling Dream Powder. I don't care what flavor you like. The coconut cinnamon, the brownie, the peppermint, they're all amazing. Go to shopbeam.com/Spicer. Shopbeam.com/Spicer. Use code Spicer for 40% off. This is a great American company. Do something to invest in yourself and your wellness. All right, without further ado, let's get to all of the topics. And man, do I have a lot today with our amazing Monday guests, the chicks on the right, Amy Jo Clark, otherwise known as Daisy, and Miriam Webb, or known as
Weaver.
Miriam Weaver. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I told you, I'm already punch drunk on St. Patrick's Day, Miriam, but I was going, all right. AKA Mock. We're gonna have to redo that. Anyway, guys, good to see you. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Mock. I was overcome by the shamrocks on your head.
I'm very distracting. I know it's my fault.
I was trying to do the the genealogy on Weaver. Is that an Irish name? What is it? So I don't know. You are definitely more in the Irish spirit than
Let me make sure you see my whole shirt though, because
oh my God, that's legit. Oh
She's
my goodness.
paying homage to Pocahontas today.
that's right.
Daisy, you went with more of the olive army green.
Right. I'm representing the olive. Yes, we're all different shades of green today. I feel like we're all in the spectrum of green.
Yeah, and it's one day. So this is, no one should get excited. I hope you guys are going out to celebrate tonight. I do love it. Although the priest at church reminded me this weekend, for those Catholics in the audience, St. Joseph's is later in this week. It's actually a Solemnity Day, which means that if you gave up something for Lent, you can actually do it on that day. But St. Patrick's, if you're not in Ireland, is not a day of solemnity, meaning that you can't actually. So he gave me the whole rhyme and reason, but I think it's very anti-Irish. I don't know why the church.
Wait,
is anti.
So if you're giving up something for Lent, you can actually like take a break on St. Patrick's Day? Is that
no, St. Joseph's Day, because it's a day of solemnity, but it is not a day of solemnity for St. Patrick unless you are in Ireland, where I assume the bishop or the archbishop or the cardinal or whatever I can't remember what they have. It declares that so. So the thing is, you can't if you gave up alcohol, you can go drink on St. Joseph's Day, and I think it's Wednesday, but not today. So, that's I'm just sharing information.
Very inconvenient for those people that want to drink on St. Patrick's Day, though.
I just think it's unfair. I think that it's anti-Irish.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, I want to call to your attention a new poll that didn't get a lot of attention over the weekend from NBC. I tweeted this out. And everyone wants to focus on how negative everyone is on Trump. But there were a couple things that were fascinating to me that they didn't want to talk about. Number one, in November of last year, the right direction of the country, which is a real tell in polling, what direction do people think the country's going in, right direction or wrong direction, was at 27%. So around election time, people said the country is way off track. 27% only said this. It is now at 44%, almost a 20-point gain And you would think that that would be something that people would be celebrating. And yet here they are. It's a huge high, by the way, not since 2004. And so, Mock, you are full Irish regale celebration with Donald Trump. To me, that should be the story. Americans believe the country's moving in the right direction, up 20 points in a matter of months.
Well, and I got to give a little bit of credit to a few of the mainstream media outlets who did report on that, right? Because we actually talked about it on our show this morning, and we showed polls and news reports from not only CNN, but also NBC, who were talking about that very number. And so I was surprised, because normally you hear the spin and they're not going to focus on those kinds of numbers, but they actually are saying exactly what you said, that we haven't seen this kind of a high in right direction polling since 2004. I mean, this is what should send even more fear into the hearts of Democrats who are polling so badly on their own right now, that they are having a rift internally where around half of them want to fight everything that Trump does, and the other half wants to work with Republicans to actually move the country forward. So how they're going to balance that rift is going to be really fun to watch.
I don't even think it's half. I don't even think it's half that want to work to, make the country better. I think she's being very optimistic. Because
she's celebrating. She's celebrating.
Right. She may already be drunk, Sean. She may. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong.
She is Polish, so I don't know. But the thing is that I look at the people that are in the media that are saying, okay, well, listen, Democrats are tanking, and I think that they're scared because they are tanking. I think they expect it to be like the last time Trump was president, and oh my God, Trump sucks, and everybody thinks, and it's not that way. He is full speed ahead, warp speed, getting crap done. It is, not saying that he didn't get crap done the last time, but it is exponentially even more awesome than it was the last time. And so that's freaking them out. But they're still, I think it'd be more like 75% of them that are still dying on the hill of, we got to cut genitals off of kids, and we got to have men and women's locker rooms, and it's on-demand abortion, and illegal immigration is awesome. They're still dying on the wrong hills,
Well, they are, but part of the reason it also goes into that NBC poll. When Trump was elected, at this point in his first term, he had 50% of Republicans view him positively favorable. This time it's 74. People are sticking with him. And that's the thing that I think, you're both of you touching on this, but the dynamic is different. He's getting stuff done. He's focused. And that's what I think confounds the folks on the left, is that they're like, wait a second, we thought you guys, all you never Trumpers, were just going to fall away, and you're sticking with them, and that's confounding them.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yes,
and we're loving it. We're loving every minute of it.
We are.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I mentioned this morning on this morning meeting that I do, where I talk to folks all the time, and I love to ask them just because of the nature of who I am and what I do. But I'll say, let me ask you this. What do you think of the tariffs? What do you think of this? And I talked to pork producers last week. I talked to a guy who owns a bar over the weekend, right? And he, obviously the cost of liquor, that's where the reciprocal tariffs are hitting us, our whiskeys, our bourbons, things like that. And he said, you know what? I got to be honest with you. If this is some short-term pain for some long-term gain, I'm there. And I find this with almost every group. No one's excited, right? No one owns a business and says, yeah, I want to go through some short-term pain. But our side is so much more committed to the long-term benefit of this country that they're willing to say, you know what, President Trump's out there fighting. It's not politically popular. We know that. And I think that they're willing to take it because they get the long-term benefits.
Right. And they love the country. We love America. And so we see that could potentially, the long-term benefit is worth the short-term pain. Right. And Democrats would never do that. They would never be on the side of, if it hurts them immediately in any way, America sucks. That's their go-to. And it's just not like that on the right.
I think and we wrote about this in our book too. We're the broccoli party. We're not the ice cream party. We're the party that's we know that broccoli, it doesn't taste good. I freaking hate broccoli, but I know that I have to eat my vegetables to be healthy. And in the long term, broccoli is much better for you than eating ice cream every single day. So we know that it's beneficial for us to eat our broccoli. And I think Republicans we just understand that more so than Democrats do. Democrats are like, I want the ice cream now because it tastes good and I'm all about the feels, And that's the difference between the two parties.
Fun
Well,
fact,
there's
I
a
don't
lot
think
of
I've ever
differences.
tried broccoli. I don't think I've ever had it, ever.
Really? What?
No.
Are you serious? No way.
Yeah, I my kids do. And so maybe I should, because I don't know. I feel like, Daisy, you've given me some inspiration. I should at least try it. I know it's good.
Today.
Huh?
It's very green. Today you should try it because it's
Oh, come
green
on.
and it's very St. Patrick's.
What about a cucumber? I like a cucumber. and it's
Cucumbers
green.
are great.
Arugula, I like rugula. Arugula's green. I mean, I'll get to broccoli this week. But here's the thing, and Mark, you point this out. Poll after poll, both the CNN poll and the NBC poll. The NBC poll showed Democrats at 27% approval. CNN poll showed it at 29%. In the NBC poll, that's a historic low for their party. This is not a good place for them to be.
It's not at all, especially because they cannot agree on what to do about it. There, again, I think there's like 57, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think it was 57% of Democrats want to fight against everything that Trump and Elon and his administration is doing. The other 40 whatever percent want to work and get along and kind of move forward together. And so when you've got a split that big, that disparate, it's gonna be a huge problem for them to get aligned on what their messaging is going to be, except that they all seem to agree that one of the ways to communicate better with the American people is to constantly curse and use profanity on them. That's their new thing. And so on that, they're agreeing.
It's so true. Plus they don't have a leader. You know, they don't have a person that is in charge of them. I mean, because let's face it, over the past 4 years, Biden wasn't running the country. I mean, he was a walking cadaver, you know? So it was weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, we're going to get to this in a second. It's
was
worse than that. It's worse.
It was weekend at Bernie's every single day. So they didn't have a guy or a woman in charge of anything. And so now that he's gone, it's like, what are we doing? Who's in charge? There's nobody in charge of the group project. You know?
All right. So this is, I'm glad you guys, I queued this up hoping we would exactly end up where we just did, because we talk about leadership and issues, right? There's a clip that made its rounds on social media over the weekend that I think exemplifies the difference of today's party versus the old party. The messenger, somewhat flawed, but take a look.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
She is
That
so
sounds
racist.
like I know, what a racist.
So racist.
But that's the difference. That party used to actually stand up for common sense stuff. And now they're like, you should come in and we should give you everything for free.
Right. She used to also remember she used to, I was just gonna say she used to say abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. Remember she used to say that too? That was a good
I remember
time.
she also said that we need to stop attacking her husband for making up lies about him having an affair. I also remember that one.
Good times.
That was also, which time?
Good times.
All right, guys, I want to pivot for a second because it's some media news over the weekend. Obviously, Friday, it was so cool. Caroline Levitt on the show, breaking news, and it got a ton of coverage that she will not attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I was actually to me, this is like, I know not everyone is as passionate as I am, but over the weekend, it got a lot worse. So there's an annual elitist dinner called the Gridiron Dinner. And it literally is the most elite establishment folks, like journalists, some rich people, etc. And they have this I think it's a white tail dinner. Anyway, it's the epitome of and it's supposed to be off the record, except parts of the joke. I mean, they're all sort of whatever. So every year for over 140 years, they have a toast at the end of it where they say to the president. And that's it, full stop. Not President Trump, not President Obama, not President Clinton, just to the president. Judy Woodruff of PBS was the president of the Gridiron Dinner this year. And for the first time in the club's 140-year plus history, they didn't offer a toast to the president. They changed it for the first time and said, we're going to cheers to the First Amendment. No one from the Trump administration showed up at the dinner, and there's clearly the battle lines are drawn now. And this is, to me, I'm sorry that they don't want to go to your elitist, leftist, snobby dinner, But like to them, this is what it's all about. You either come to our dinner and we hobnob and we fake pretend that we kind of like you and we tolerate you, or you don't go. But like these guys now, it's full on assault. And I got to be honest with you. I know you guys are outside the Beltway, so maybe you don't care as much as I do. But I'm so tired of Republicans being props. They want to go rub elbows with Billy Eichner and other D-list celebrities that they can get a selfie with. But the reality is that we're helping like mainstream this left-wing organization by going to their dinners and events.
I totally hear that. Like, but do you think it would have been different? Like, would they have toasted the president had he come?
Yes, 100%.
You think? I don't think they would. Now, I don't know anything about anything, but like, I bet they wouldn't have.
Oh, they might, they would have, but I think the beautiful part is the president didn't go in 2017, he went once, I think, 2018, if I recall correctly, or in his first term, and they still toasted. And Obama didn't go every time either. They still toasted. So it's not just a question of whether the president goes, but also this administration, the president to go, they asked the VP, he didn't go. The National Security Advisor, he didn't go. Caroline didn't go. Stephen Chung didn't go. Like, they made it very clear we're not coming. And they were pissed at the dinner because, like, that's just so disrespectful to them.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic because I think Trump and Vance, it's Vance especially represents me because I am outside the Beltway and I'm not rich and I'm not elite. And Mock and I, represent a lot of people like us on our, our podcast, our community. Those are our people. Those are the people that I think Trump and Vance represent now. And so this elitist bullcrap, I think they are drawing the battle lines, and people are sick of this garbage, and they're sick of, politicians kowtowing to this elitist garbage. We don't need this. This is government bureaucracy and all this garbage that we just don't need. It's like, we just want him to go in there and get the job done. And that's what he's doing. And he represents me. So I'm delighted by this. I hope that he gives them the big fat middle finger, actually, in addition to it.
No, Daisy, that's it though. You just put your finger on it. He represents me. You can't talk about the people and then go off to these elitist dinners and hang out and pretend. Like, I think he gets this. And that's why it's important, is that he's not playing the game. I will show you guys one last thing in exhibit in my case, just to show people what I'm talking about, why I think this organization, the White House Correspondents Association, is so ridiculous. The head of it, the current head of it, is a guy named Eugene Daniels. We've talked about him before. He was with Politico until this weekend when he officially decamped to MSNBC. He was on Meet the Press over the weekend as they continued their roundtable of Trump haters. Let me play you what he said, though, just to give you a flavor of who this is that's leading the White House Correspondents Association.
And the idea that what Biden did at the White House is similar to the Trump basically being a salesman and hawking the Teslas on the front lawn of the White House is completely different. The ad writes itself.
But why? But Democrats aren't doing it. Immediately the next day, there should have been just that ad. Just show that over and over. You're saying
another missed opportunity.
Another missed opportunity to get on the same.
Democrats are bad on messaging.
But I mean, like when you talk to them behind the scenes, they explain the Elon of it all in a much better way than they do when they go on television. They don't talk about him as an oligarch behind the scenes, right? They talk about him as someone who is, in their eyes, doing Doge, because he wants to help his businesses at the end of the day, right? They're talking about that conflict of interest. That's something that the American people actually understand, but they, again, continue to miss an opportunity to actually do that.
Now, Mock, here's the point in that. This is a guy who's, up until 24 hours prior to that, was the White House correspondent for Politico, right? And he's telling the Democrats, here's what they should have done. Here's how they should have done. Like, it's like he's one of them. He is an operative for the Democratic Party. Now, I get it. Now he's at MSNBC and he can be a lot more open about it. But this is the problem. Yeah. They think that somehow that they are just this nonpartisan, bipartisan organization. They are a leftist organization, probably funded by George Soros.
And shameless about it, clearly. I mean, because it's not like he's even trying to hide it. It's not like any of them try to even present themselves as somewhat nonpartisan. They're clearly in the tank for Democrats. They're clearly upset. There's a lot of Democrat talking heads right now, Simone Sanders being one of them, who's all like, if this is how this is going to be, I'm going to get out of the Democrat Party and become an independent. They are losing their way. And it's because their messaging is so all over the place. And to what's his name's point, Eugene's point, they're not taking advantage where he thinks they should, because no one can get organized right now to decide, well, what's the best approach to push back against what the GOP messaging is. They're just flailing. And it's a delight.
And that happens when your entire foundation is built on hating one dude.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to happen. We've watched that over the past, 9 years? That's all they've got. It's like, all they care about is hate. Whatever you say, it's like, but I hate Orange Man bad. It's like, and eventually it was going to implode. We're just watching it happen. And I'm here for it, man.
You know what? I do love that. I mean, to your point, like the idea that Simone Sanders, who is Kamala's spokesperson, is leaving the party tells you how bad it is. But what I love is it's not just, and I'm glad, look, first of all, I just want to make the PSA, and we'll talk about it again before the dinner comes up. Republicans, listen up. You have a choice now. You're either on Donald Trump's side or you're on their side. You can't be on both.
Right.
When you want to complain about the media, if you go to this dinner, this correspondence dinner in April, stop complaining. You are part of the problem. That's what people need to understand. All these Republicans that want their selfies with the D-list celebrities have got to stop whining. You either don't go to the dinner and you sacrifice that so you don't have another post on Instagram, or you stand with Donald Trump and Caroline Leavitt, full stop. But the thing that I love so much about this right now, Daisy, is that they are not just not going to a dinner. Kudos to them for that. They're actually dismantling so much of the problem. The Voice of America, which is literally an arm of, a taxpayer-funded propaganda arm of the left, is being dismantled as we speak. And I just hope that, I mean, listen, this is Dan Robinson is a 34-year veteran of America. This is what he said, quote, "I've monitored the agency's bureaucracy along with many of its reporters and concluded that it has essentially become a hubris-filled rogue operation, often reflecting a leftist bias aligned with partisan national media." That's what we were funding through our tax dollars. And these guys in the Trump administration are dismantling it piece by piece.
Yeah. And listen, the people that go, the people like the Republicans that will go to this dinner, it's not that they're not even standing with Donald Trump and Caroline Leavitt. They're not standing with the American people.
Yes.
Because we're just sick of this crap. We're just tired of this garbage. We're tired of being abused by people that literally take our money and do crap with it that we don't want them to do. Like we're paying them. We're paying these people, maybe not the journalists, but a lot of these other people.
We are.
And you're right. In a roundabout way, we are paying some of the journalists. But, for the most part, it's like these people they are entitled brats who funnel money from the American people. And we're just sick of it,
Yeah.
Well, and Voice of America, I mean, that whole, I mean, to your question about Voice of America, which Carrie Lake was basically put in charge to dismantle. I love that. I love that she and Linda McMahon, basically being told, I'm going to put you in charge of these places so that you can get yourself out of a job as quickly as possible. I love it. I think it's great. Why do we need Voice of America and PBS and NPR and all of these clearly already leftist leaning news organizations? I think this makes total sense to get rid of it. We've got too much of this already.
Right.
Just fundamentally and philosophically. Even if they were right-leaning, I'd say the same thing, meaning why is the government funding a media outlet? Like, no way, no need for it. And by the way, these Hollywood leftists, sell your Teslas, sell whatever you want, fund it yourself. There's no reason in today's world. Independent media exists all over the place. There's no reason we have to fund yours. But I will tell you, Margaret Brennan, I don't know if it's a punishment that CBS is inflicting on her, but she chose another administration official, a cabinet member, to go on this weekend. And I feel like every week it's someone's turn in the cabinet to just come destroy her. Marco Rubio was on this weekend. And I want to play this. It's a little long, but it's worth listening to. Take a look at Marco Rubio on Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan.
I want to ask you about a decision you made to revoke a student visa for someone at Columbia University this past week. The Wall Street Journal editorial board writes, the administration needs to be careful. It's targeting real promoters of terrorism, not breaking the great promise of a green card by deporting anyone with controversial political views. Can you substantiate any form of material support for terrorism, specifically to Hamas, from this Columbia student? Or was it simply that he was espousing a controversial political point of view?
Well, not just the student. We're going to do more. In fact, every day now we're approving visa revocations, and if that visa led to a green card, the green card process as well. And here's why. It's very simple. When you apply to enter the United States and you get a visa, you are a guest. And you're coming as a student, you're coming as a tourist, or what have you. And in it, you have to make certain assertions. And if you tell us when you apply for a visa, I'm coming to the U.S. to participate in pro-Hamas events, that runs counter to the foreign policy interest of the United States of America. It's that simple. So you lied. You came. If you had told us that you were going to do that, we never would have given you the visa. Now you're here. Now you do it. So you lied to us. You're out. It's that simple.
But
it's
is there any evidence of a link to terrorism, or is it just his point of view?
Yeah, they take over. I mean, you should watch the news. These guys take over entire buildings. They vandalize colleges.
Intensely.
They shut down
I'm
colleges.
asking about the specific justification for the revocation of his visa. Was there any evidence or material support for terrorism?
Was the negotiator negotiating on behalf of people that took over a campus, that vandalized buildings? Negotiating over what? That's a crime in and of itself, that they're involved in being the negotiator, the spokesperson, this, that, the other. We don't want it. We don't need these people in our country. We never should have allowed them in the first place. If he had told us, I'm going over there, and I'm going over there to become the spokesperson and one of the leaders of a movement that's going to turn one of your allegedly elite colleges upside down, people can't even go to school, library buildings being vandalized, we never would have let him in. We never would have let him in to begin with. And now that he's doing it and he's here, he's going to leave, and so are others, and we're going to keep doing it.
I love it. All right. So, I mean, look, guys, to me, first of all, Marco Rubio every week just impresses me. Number two,
oh my gosh,
Margaret Brennan. At some point, go to the Dems or something, or get some high school kids to come in and be your guests, because it's embarrassing how they roll her every weekend with facts.
She should become a barista. Just become a barista at this point.
You think AOC could help her?
What now?
AOC could probably help her.
Maybe
trainer. But I mean, they are seriously though, the ACLU and these guys, they're suing people to keep them in the country. And I'm like, wait a second, these are bad people. They lied. They're here as visitors. Why are you? This is the problem. I mean, you guys mentioned it a minute ago, but the left keeps doubling down on stupid. And the idea that you're defending keeping people like that in the country, to me, is nuts.
Yeah. Defending people like that, and also Tren de Aragua. What? This is what Democrats. This is the hill they want to die on. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Keep doing it, and we'll keep winning.
The president flew people out of this country over the weekend, and I know the left is blowing up about the legal, whether or not the judge had issued the order before the plane took off or whatever. The bottom line is this: Tren de Aragua and MS-13 are bad people that kill, murder, harm American citizens. And the left is out there arguing, but maybe the judge, how do you in your right mind defend that?
Yeah. Then you take them into your home. If you think they're not so bad, why don't you invite them into your guest house with your teenage daughter and have them come stay a while? Seriously, I'd like to see any of those bleeding hearts do that, but they won't. They won't do it. They're just going to complain. And this guy, they were talking about Khalil, right? In that clip, that Margaret clip. They're talking about that guy came over to the United States, got an Ivy League education, spent all this time here, got all sorts of free crap. And then when he was faced with, somebody calling him out for being an American hating jerk, he got a GoFundMe started by Ilhan Omar's daughter, made a bunch of money. And like I said in our show this morning, you tell me
her daughter really started? I didn't know that. Her daughter started.
There's a GoFundMe. Yeah, there's a GoFundMe for the guy. He got a bunch of money. So it's like
$500,000 as of yesterday.
Yeah. There's probably more in it now. So you tell me what other country he could do that in than in this beautiful experiment called the United States of America. And then he hates it. He hates this country, and he wants to just spew terror crap in this country. It makes my blood boil when I see stuff like that. And then I see liberals defending this guy. I can't. But you're welcome for all the money that you made here in the United States, dude.
And by the way, I didn't realize that, but the GoFundMe, you know how many times they've canceled somebody on the right to say, they're going to allow that money through GoFundMe for a guy that was in the country illegal, that supported, theoretically supported the destruction of and vandalism of U.S. And yet they'll take away the money from someone on the right that's trying to save a life. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Unbelievable. All right, let's talk to something really fun. The president overnight. So there's this trend that started, and I think the Heritage Foundation was the first group of people to put this out. I will give them credit, and if I'm wrong, people will put it in the notes and let me know. But they put out this thing a couple weeks ago that that Joe Biden's signature, when you looked at it, was identical for 4 years. And they basically realized it's an autopen. Now, for people who don't understand, most Senate offices and a lot of, like, you know, the White House has an autopen. So you send a letter to the President of the United States, say, hey, it's Timmy's birthday. He sends you back a letter, happy birthday, Timmy. And it's usually autopen. The Senate does that to a lot of form letters, constituent letters. But on big things, like I'm telling you, I will say everything that I have with President Trump, my certificate of office when I was press secretary and on the board of the Naval Academy, are all hand signed. He takes great pride in that. And they started to realize that, like, all these things in Biden world, literally for 4 years, have the same auto pen signature, meaning, so initially the question was, what did he actually decide on? What was he personally involved in? Knowingly, right. And then Trump overnight puts out this thing and declares that the pardons that he issued are void because Biden used an auto pen. And he's claiming that, you know, clearly Biden didn't even know what he was doing, signing these pardons for Mark Millie and members of Dr. Fauci, members of his family. And therefore, if he didn't know, are they legally valid? Now, I don't know, but I think it presses the question, what did Biden actually do or know was being done on his behalf while he was president?
Well, we talked about this on our show this morning, and the problem, I mean, listen, it's a great squirrel to chase in some ways, because I think all of us would agree that he had no idea what he was doing for much of his entire presidency. The problem is they can easily trot him out and have him say, like, it'll be Jill in his ear going, just say that you knew, but that you signed all these pardons.
No joke, folks, no joke. No joke.
Right.
Look,
yeah, exactly.
Look, no
so
joke.
I don't think
uncle
there's
said, Joey, when you sign something, Joey, use the auto pen, Joey. And so I use the auto pen. I'm not kidding,
there's not going to be a legal
joke.
standing. Like, there's not going to be a legal way for them to say this is null and void, because all he has to do is come out and say, oh yeah, I totally knew about it. You know what I mean? But it does make everybody second guess and question everything that he signed off on, because I don't think anybody trusts that he knew what was going on.
Oh my God, I don't think any of us with half a firing synapse in our brain think that I don't think he knew anything that he did in the past 4 years. I think there was somebody else running the show. Like I said before, it was Weekend at Bernie's for 4 years.
Do we
Except
all
for that
agree,
resignation letter, right?
Because
he signed that.
Trump,
right.
When Trump said this, do we all agree that, like, they don't actually want to overturn it, but they want to sow further doubt into the what Biden actually did? Do you think that's really what Trump's after?
I think that's right.
I don't know. I think it would be nice to overturn some of the pardons.
I do.
I don't
and that's
think
why
he realistically thinks it will happen, though. I mean, I think this is a bit of a troll.
Don't you think some lawyer, he didn't just come up with this. I think somebody gave him a legal basis and said, you know, you might want to throw it out there because...
Right. I mean, listen, weirder things have happened.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
You know, which brought me to thinking about, like, not just what Biden didn't do, but what Trump did. And it goes back to where we started this conversation about the poll numbers. And I was being tongue in cheek over the weekend. But if you think about it, because I keep hearing saying, like, Trump isn't, you know, this Doge stuff isn't what he said he would do. And I'm like, actually, it kind of is. Right. Mm-hmm. So egg prices are down. I was driving through last Friday. I was taking the kids to school. And I looked at the price of the gas stations in town on the way to their school, and I was like, wow. I mean, one of them was $2.73 for unleaded, and I can't remember the last time it was under $3. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, gas prices are down, egg prices are down, inflation's down, the border's secure. He's negotiating the end of these foreign wars that were started under Biden. And I joked at the end of my tweet, and I said, I just wish that Trump was focused on what he said he would do, because because I'm like, wait a second, what is it that he's doing? Like the Doge stuff, right? So if government spending partially leads to inflation, I would argue that brings it down. 2, he talked about the deficit, that helps bring it down. Like, he talked about extending tax cuts. I mean, what is it that he's not doing? I don't get that the left keeps saying, I wish he was focused on what he said he would do. I'm like, I kind of think he is.
He is. He's totally focused. It's interesting that the liberals aren't talking about egg prices anymore. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
They've kind of
or
shut
gas
up
prices.
that.
Or gas prices.
They're really quiet.
Because Brooke Rollins is on it.
It's really weird. They're not.
Yeah.
I guess it's not that important anymore to them, right?
Yeah. We better switch. And I mentioned this, by the way, you know, the weekend and the bombing. And again, it's just amazing that if you don't look, right, you guys talk about stuff every morning. I try to do what I can after I'll watch you guys steal your ideas and then do it at night. But but you think about over the weekend, right? President Biden would leave the White House, go to Delaware, and then they would tell us he was back at the White House on Mondays, and he wouldn't do anything for like 3 days. With Trump over the weekend, like all of a sudden I start hearing about the ISIS, like they killed the fugitive leader of ISIS. He's killed in Iraq, right? And we're just relentless in pursuing this. And then they start these attacks on the Houthis. And they made a big distinguishing note that I think was important. Biden would do these one-off little bombings, and they would go for like 5 minutes. They target some sites and then be done. It sounds like these guys are relentless. They're firing, planes off of ships in the Gulf and like going after these guys in a way that's going to be like, we're going to come after you. We're going to destroy you until you're gone. And it's a very different tactic.
Well, it sends a much stronger message, obviously, than what Biden ever did. And and Pete Hegseth mentioned it over the weekend. He said, until they stop attacking our ships, we will attack them unrelentingly. And it's this whole, we're going to show that America is strong and we're not going to be the world's doormat anymore. And I love it. I don't know who can argue with that. Why should we allow our Navy ships and other ships to be attacked over and over again with this sort of pathetic little wuss response? It does nothing. Clearly, it doesn't stop the problem. So I welcome tougher action.
Yep.
Daisy, the thing is, it's not just about the Houthis and whatever. I mean, Mark made the point. It's about freedom of navigation. We were being prevented from where we could go, which is commerce and so many other things. If our ships can't travel freely, that actually affects prices. That actually affects us. And the idea that these guys are being relentless about going after them speaks volumes, because it just wasn't happening under Biden. In fact, no one would even acknowledge that something like this was occurring.
Right. And I think now you can just kind of see it. You can sense that adults are back in charge.
Yeah.
I think we use the word balls a lot on our podcast. I don't know if I can use that word here, but I just did. But I mean, it's just like, seriously, we got our balls back, like the adults are back in charge. We're doing things that actually benefit the American people. We're not kowtowing to these people. And I think it's like peace through strength. We're actually doing it. We're doing it. And so we're seeing that happen. And so quickly. That's what is so great to me. It's not something that like they're just talking about and not doing. They're doing it, and they're doing it in the first 2 months of him being in office. And that is so refreshing to me, because we had to do it quickly because the world was falling apart.
Yeah. One person that we didn't talk about this weekend, I drove by a Tesla dealership here in town, and there are people standing outside cheering. And I'm like, what bunch of losers are you that on a Saturday, beautiful Saturday, you're sitting outside holding Ukrainian, Canadian, and Mexican flags outside of a Tesla dealership? I mean, seriously, I mean, that's like your protest. And then there was this clip that Newsbusters put out over at the Media Research Center that says everything you need to know about Elon. I mentioned the rocket, and of course, they're not giving him any credit for saving American lives. But remember, this is what they had to say about Elon Musk not too long ago.
I would argue that the new Jesus Christ of our era are Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, and it's important to have heroes.
The 47-year-old engineer has been called the real-life Tony Stark, better known as Iron Man.
Elon Musk, a.k.a. real-life Iron Man.
The guy is brilliant.
He is a genius, and at least for now, the world is better off having Elon Musk in it than not.
Elon Musk is one of the most interesting people in America. He's in the world, and I guess in the universe.
Elon Musk is doing things that may revolutionize transportation and climate change.
When somebody as staggeringly rich and staggeringly intelligent as Elon Musk talks, people listen.
Has there ever been a car salesman like Elon Musk?
Elon Musk is I think beyond a car salesman. I mean, he's more like a hero for a lot of folks.
All right, you get the point. It goes on. It's all these lefties praising him. I mean, until he helped aligned and helped Donald Trump, he was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Mm-hmm. Just like Trump was.
Right, exactly. I was just going to say, I'm old enough to remember when Trump was hailed cool as a really cool guy. Remember when he was in like all the movies and he was on shows? He went on The View, for crying out loud, and they loved him.
And they enjoyed him.
And Joy pet him, you know, and touched his hair. And now it's like he's the devil to these people because you put an R after your name and their heads explode and they can't deal. And that says it speaks volumes about them and not us, right? So
yeah. Well, that's the thing is that he's and the thing that's so funny is that he's doing things that in the past they advocated for. They talked about government waste and inefficiencies. And here you have this brilliant businessman doing it. And like I said at the beginning of the show, he sent a friggin' rocket to go rescue Americans and no one's saying, hey, thanks, buddy. These guys were left there by Joe Biden. And think about this. Just stop for a moment because I got through my head. You go to space for 10 days and they go, hey, listen, it's going to be more like 10 months. Like, that's not, I don't know how you get your head wrapped around. And by the way, it's not like you're shipped off to like, you know, France. You're in space. You can't just decide to come home and Elon Musk sends a rocket to fix you. And no one on the left even can bring themselves to say, that's actually good for the country. That's awesome that we have this technology that we can use to help our own citizens. Unreal.
It is unreal. They won't give him credit for anything.
Yeah.
I'm actually, I live right outside of McGregor, Texas. I can hear SpaceX right now as we're talking.
Really?
Like there's a rocket going up right now. You guys can't hear it, but it constantly happens and I can hear it outside
Do you think
my
it's
house.
the one coming back that has the astronauts?
Probably not. It's probably going to like Boca Chica or something. But I mean, like they're constantly doing tests. The guy he is amazing, but you're absolutely right. I mean, Mock always jokes that he can like parallel park a rocket and like, you know, I can't parallel park a car, you know, but it's crazy, but they don't give him enough credit.
No. We are praising the wrong people right now.
Right.
And I think the three of us, thank you, Elon. Thank you, Elon, on St. Patrick's Day. Well, I want to thank you guys, Chicks on the Right. Watch them every morning. I appreciate you guys starting the week with us here on the show. Always love our conversations. As I mentioned, tomorrow, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, who's doing some amazing stuff reforming the network, taking on YouTube TV. We'll break it all down for him tomorrow on the show. Have a great night. Thanks for being here. Remember to sign up for my newsletter, SeanSpicer.com. It is free. Except if you want to be a VIP, then of course I'll take your money. Have a great night. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.